Hey there, so today I have a quick tip for you about teaching your horses to have safe behaviors around food. One of the first things, it's a kind of a common theme when we're working around food and teaching our horses to be safe around food, is to teach them to have their head away from us. The big problem with teaching our horses to have their head away from us is we become so fixated on the idea of the head being away and that swinging motion from being close to us to being away from us. So it's this back and forth motion that we end up inadvertently creating. We create this, they kind of seek food on us and they forage on us, and then they swing their head away, we click, we feed them, and sometimes we feed them in the wrong place, and then they're like, okay, so in their minds, what starts to happen is they think they're supposed to touch us, then swing their head away, then the click happens, they get their food, and sometimes what can happen is that they touch us, swing their head away, the click happens, and they think they're supposed to bring their head back towards us to get their food. So we have this pattern, this loop of behavior that's happening over and over and over again, and we confuse the horses when we're thinking we want the horse just to keep their head away. Well, let's talk about the head away real quick. So we don't actually want them to have their head turned away from us. We want them to have their head straight in front of their body. So it is away from us, but it's in front of their own body. So it's head, chest, rear end, tail, everything all lined up in a straight line beside our body, and their head not directly in front of our personal space. So their head is away from us technically, but it's not away from them. So it's not like they're swinging their head all the way to the right. You just want it centered. Then what you want to do is you want to click the first moment that the head is in front of their chest, and you want to feed them in that same position. So you're going to need to feed them directly in front of their body, and then you're going to need to grab the first opportunity again to click before they swing their head towards you. So if you've created this back and forth motion, the easy fix is to interrupt it. So if you've got, they're going to have their head here center, you're going to click, feed, and even sometimes before you drop your hand again, if that's helpful, to kind of keep the horse focused on a certain position, click again, feed, click again, feed, and keep doing this until you can start to slow that process down. So it's clicking and feeding at a slower pace. So it'll be their heads here, you pause just a second, click, feed, drop your hand, pause a little bit, click, feed. But it's always in the same position, you're always clicking for the same position, and you're not waiting for them to touch you first, then swing their head away, then feeding them back here again. So we don't want this whole pattern, this whole rhythm, we just want the head to stay here. What you can sometimes do, and you need to play with this a little bit, and I don't recommend this for everybody, but in some cases you can actually stop using the click and do what's called feeding for position. So you can actually, if they're in one position, in the correct position that you would like, just feed them there. Pause, feed, and you can just teach them to stay there, and that's where the food is going to happen, in this position. It's a really good tool to use when you're just standing there, when you're not going to be going anywhere. And I also like to use it for a little bit more experienced horses, maybe not in the beginning. In the beginning I will use the clicker because I want to shape that behavior. I want to tell them, yes, that was it. That was the spot that I wanted you to stand in. You're doing exactly what I wanted. And also for horses that have a habit of back and forth, I need to interrupt that, and the clicker offers very clear, concise information to the horse, telling them that was it, that was it. So we want to build them standing here quietly next to us with their head away from us, but not swinging away. And we want to feed them in that position, and we want to continue to feed them in that position. Don't wait for your horse to turn towards you, then away again to click and then feed.